Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the chair of the Texas Business Hall of Fame, John Keaton.
It's a wonderful party. Great seeing you all. You can feel free to take your seats and we can go ahead and get started here shortly. Well, welcome everyone. For those of you who are traveling from out of town, welcome to the great city of San Antonio. There are two wonderful things about San Antonio this time of year. And first, of course, it's our beautiful fall season. So I hope if you have an extended stay here in San Antonio, I hope you spend some time in the Pearl District area. Yes, I think we have an inductee who will agree with that thought as well too. Well, second, I think we can get your attention here with the number two thing about San Antonio, and that is our San Antonio Spurs. I knew that would get some of you. Now, of course, for the Spurs, we've been in rebuilding years the past few years due to our transition from the championship teams led by David Robinson and Tim Duncan. But folks, we may just have a third coming for our Spurs. Victor Wembanyama, or easier said, Victor Wemby, is a top prospect for our San Antonio Spurs. And folks, I think the hype may be closer to real than it is hope. Victor last week was quoted after his career and season debut, stating, "I feel lucky to be here." Folks, I can't say it any better than that. That is how I am feeling tonight and my role being the chairman for the Texas Business Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Keaton, and on behalf of the Texas Business Hall of Fame Foundation and our presenting sponsor, Texas Capital, it is my privilege to welcome you to our annual dinner induction ceremony. Together, we will honor 7 transformational business leaders for their contributions to our state economy, but also to their communities. Our mission would not be possible without the support of our contributors and our benefactors. You'll see all of them listed in your program at your table. So to each and every one of you here in the audience tonight, and especially for those who have come from very far distances, thank you very much for being here. And a special thank you to our San Antonio Mayor, Mr. Ron Nirenberg. I invite you to watch a special video. Take a look at the screens on each side of me. This captures the spirit and the impact of our organization. You may just even see some familiar faces.
Why not me? Why can't I be that person to change the world?
Be an inch wide and a mile deep.
Things we never thought would ever happen, we can make happen.
My aspirations have always been to be the best that I could be.
You do not have to fit in to stand out.
This is a big story of little stories in a society where anything is possible.
I have learned to lead by example.
You come here to honor us tonight. We come here and honor our parents.
I was blessed by hardworking parents.
I have been blessed with an incredible life.
I was at the right place at the right time with the right people.
Nearly every step been someone helping me.
Welcome to Whataburger. May I take your order?
That's the way we did those Super Bowl trophies.
I'm a product of a great public education.
If you can't have fun selling Budweiser, you are doing something wrong.
By attending this event, you honor the things that make Texas unique.
San Antonio's my hometown. It feels like coming home.
We are focused on finding exemplary Texans.
There was no place on earth
remotely as optimistic as Texas.
Thank your lucky stars, you're in Texas.
And now for something a little bit different.
Es muy mexicano.
When you give, it's the greatest sight in the world.
It's hard for me to start without starting from a position of gratitude.
That's what business is all about, success and sharing that success with others.
None of us get anywhere in this life without getting a little help from somebody.
People first, people always first.
If you have great people with you, that's what makes it work.
I not only didn't expect to be in the Texas Business Hall of Fame, I didn't expect to be in business.
I know every time I come to one of these, I go away inspired.
Tonight is really the pinnacle of my career.
I am truly humbled and honored by this recognition.
I want to say thank you for this honor.
It's the big night for Boone Pickens.
Take note of these individuals. You will see them again.
What a stage to be standing on.
You can feel it.
Wow.
What a great number of one-liners that video had. You know, when I've seen that Herb Kelleher clip several times, and every time I see it, I just chuckle big time. But we certainly miss Herb here with the organization. But many people that you saw on the video are here with us tonight. That is one of the truly unique aspects of our foundation. Time and time again, our members show up, honor their peers, celebrate their stories, and inspire the next generation of Texas business leaders to do the same. I would now like to invite to the stage Lauren Cornell, the president of the Texas Business Hall of Fame Alumni Association, to the podium to deliver tonight's invocation.
Thank you for having me. Let us bow our heads for a moment of reflection. Thank you for every seat that has been filled here today. For each mind and heart that fills this room, we thank you. Let this prayer give us pause over the busyness of our lives to focus on your grace and the unity that it brings. Thank you for this meal we share. Bless this gathering and all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterwards. May peace be upon you. In the Lord's name, amen.
Thank you, Lauren. The Texas Business Hall of Fame's mission is to honor the accomplishments and contributions of outstanding business leaders in our state by celebrating their impact in business, but also in their community. For over 40 years, we have honored business leaders who understand with success comes great responsibility to help others. The stories we'll hear tonight are a reminder of Texas's unique economy and all its potential as the 9th largest economy in the world. It is just one of the reasons why Texans just love working with Texans. Well, unless you're two Major League Baseball teams in Texas playing each other a couple of weeks ago, vying to get into the World Series. So hopefully we have some Ranger fans here. Here to help us celebrate the achievements of our 7 inductees is our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Dan Goodgame. Dan is Editor-in-Chief of Texas Monthly, which is enjoying its 50th anniversary this year. And it's one of the only few publications anywhere that is growing in audience, revenue, and editorial staff. Goodgame joined Texas Monthly in 2019 after serving as Vice President at Rackspace, a cloud computing company based here in San Antonio, founded by one of our legends, Mr. Graham Weston. Both Dan and Texas Monthly have been longtime supporters of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. We are honored to have you here with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Dan Goodgame.
Thank you, John. Please allow me to give personal thanks to two of the legends in the audience here tonight. I'm grateful to Graham Weston for bringing me to Texas 15 years ago, and to Paul Hobby for bringing me to Texas Monthly, which is the best job I've ever had. So thank you to both of you. I am excited and humbled to be here this evening with this very impressive group of 2023 inductees. Now, each of them has a unique story, but what they all have in common is a commitment to use their success to serve their communities. And in that way, they join the legacies of the 220 legends who have been inducted into this organization over the past 40 years. Some of them are here tonight. So let's begin by introducing the Texas Hall of Fame members who are with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 2004, Matt Gorgeous. And Rosemary Kowalski. From the class of 2008, my friend Dick Evans. From the class of 2009, Jerry L. Susser and Sam L. Susser. From the class of 2010, Carlos Alvarez and Harvey Najam. From the class of 2011, Ross Perot, Jr. From the class of 2012, Doug Fauché. From the class of 2013, Charlie Amato, Gary Dudley, and Paul Foster. From the class of 2014, Doug Hawthorne. From the class of 2016, Gordon Hartman and Denny Ware. From the class of 2018, Jim Crane. The class of 2019, Kendra Scott. And Graham Weston. The class of 2021, John Paul DeJoria. John Goff, and Gerald Smith. From the class of 2022, Jeffrey Hildebrand, and my friend Paul Hobby. Ladies and gentlemen, please recognize these great members of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. And it's now with great pleasure that we present the class of 2023 Texas Business Hall of Fame legends.
Beaver Aplin.
Beaver is the most creative retailer today in America. He doesn't pretend to be something that he's not. He's very comfortable with who Beaver is.
Eddie Block and Alan Dreeben.
I continue to be impressed with Eddie and Alan's energy. Their ability to make decisions based on where they see the organization going has really defined who we are.
Kit Goldsbury.
Kit knew that product and people would win overall. Get the best product you can make and the best people you can find and turn them loose.
Janet Gurwitch.
Janet is an amazing combination of attributes. She's poised, she's polished, she's determined, and she's wicked smart.
Daniel Lubetzky.
Daniel is about impact. Impact in business, impact in philanthropy, and impact in community. He is a leader's leader.
And Jack Martin.
You know, there's no one better than Jack Martin. If you get in trouble, you call Jack and he will know how to help work you through that trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate the Texas Business Hall of Fame 2023 inductees.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's recognize our new 2023 business legends and all of the members of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. Tonight is a night of celebration, but we also want to honor and remember the trailblazers who helped define Texas business over the last century and the culture of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. Please join us as we recognize the Hall of Fame legends that we lost this year. Thank you. These great leaders, their commitment to their communities and their impact on business will not be soon forgotten. We'll begin our program shortly. Please enjoy your dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as our program is about to resume. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back John Keaton.
Well, hopefully all enjoyed your steak and shrimp dinner this evening. One of our former inductees, Rosemary Kowalski, founded the catering company that served us tonight. For me, what a privilege it was walking her across the stage. She has meant so much to the city of San Antonio, such a trailblazer for the state of Texas as well. You know, Rosemary turned 99 years old about a month ago. So one of her comments was that she's on day 36 of 365. We're gonna have a great party for Rosemary when she turns 100. Well, she's headed home for the evening, but please do think of her while you're enjoying your dessert. Okay, so for now, I'd like to once again acknowledge our presenting sponsor, Texas Capital, and welcome to the stage Managing Director Jay Klingman, Head of Commercial Banking.
Thanks, John. On behalf of Texas Capital, we are honored to be the presenting sponsor this evening. In fact, we've been the presenting sponsor for the last 9 years. We're proud of what this organization stands for, who it acknowledges, and we're thrilled to be here this evening. So the Texas Business Hall of Fame mission is to celebrate and champion the business leaders of Texas. At Texas Capital, we're dedicated to serving the needs of the Texas business community. We're a full-service financial organization that's domiciled in the state of Texas. We're committed to being a business partner to the next generation of business leaders in the state. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the 7 inductees this evening. To Beaver, Eddie, Alan, Kit, Janet, Daniel, and Jack, congratulations on this well-deserved honor and accomplishment. And as a personal note, I have the privilege of knowing a number of them personally and have known them a long time, and to the selection committee, you knocked it out of the park. Tonight, we're here to honor each of the 7 nominees this evening, to recognize your achievements, personal and professional, and to celebrate your accomplishments and substantial legacy. Thank you for all you do for our business community, and again, congratulations. We're proud to be part of this. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jay, and thank you, Texas Capital. I would like to give a special thank you to this year's Executive Committee, leaders who have dedicated so much of their time to our mission. I appreciate you all very much. We would also like to take the time to thank our Texas Business Hall of Fame Board of Directors for their loyal support and involvement. Our directors are crucial in safeguarding the mission of Texas Business Hall of Fame and guiding us towards success. Will all the Texas Business Hall of Fame directors please stand and be recognized? Please join me in thanking them. The Texas Business Hall of Fame's mission is to celebrate and champion business leaders of Texas, both present and future. Each year, through the Future Texas Business Legend Scholar and Veteran Awards program, we honor a select number of emerging and entrepreneurial business leaders who embrace the value we honor in our inductees tonight. These recipients include undergraduates and graduate students from more than 20 universities across the state of Texas, U.S. veterans selected through our state's vibrant veteran entrepreneurial ecosystem, and 1 outstanding high school entrepreneur. Close to 90% of our recipients have already founded a company. We are fortunate to have so many incredible university partners, some here with us tonight. In addition to many university representatives in attendance tonight in support of their award recipients, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank James B. Milliken, Chancellor of the University of Texas System. John Sharp, Chancellor of the Texas A&M University System. Brian McCall, Chancellor of Texas State University System. And Vanessa B. Beasley, President of Trinity University, who has joined us for this evening. Hometown fans here. We would like to also thank the former and award recipients who are here tonight, who have given back so generously to an organization who has given to you. If you are a former scholar or veteran award recipient, please stand up. We are honored to have you, so many of you here with us tonight. Let's give them a big round of applause. Earlier today, the Texas Business Hall of Fame held a celebratory luncheon for the Scholar and Veteran Award recipients. Thank you, Deloitte and Frost Bank, for co-sponsoring that event for us this afternoon. We are now excited to welcome the class of 2003 recipients into the Hall of Fame family. Please join me in recognizing them here on this stage. What a great group of scholar and veteran entrepreneurs we have in front of us tonight. Let's give them a big round of applause. The hope and the mission for the Texas Business Hall of Fame is to help support them to grow their businesses so that they may eventually be walking up here on the stage as an inductee to the Texas Business Hall of Fame. 2023 class, we have a special story for you.
Congratulations to all the scholarship winners.
My advice to you is to find a mentor and seek their advice. You won't take all of it, but the key thing is to go ask for it.
Find something that's enormously meaningful to you, because if you find that thing that gives you meaning, you've already succeeded by pursuing it regardless of how far you go.
You put your head down and you go to work. Step out of your comfort zone. I'd rather see you do something and fail than do nothing at all.
Be passionate about what you want to do. Whatever industry you go into it with a deliberate intention of exceeding your customers' expectations.
If you've got an idea, keep following it. There'll be a lot of people think you're crazy, but just keep on doing it. Keep on keeping on, as they say.
Excel in your job. Be the smartest one in the room. You will have failures. You will have disappointments. Learn from them.
I wish you the best on your journey.
Congratulations on this incredible achievement. Your hard work is breathing life and inspiration into the hearts and minds of so many. Please join me in giving a round of applause to our class of 2023 Scholar and Veteran Award recipients. We are lucky and grateful to have so many philanthropic partners who support higher education and a stronger workforce here in Texas. Tonight, I'm excited to announce that we have 4 new scholarships for this year. First, on behalf of the Texas Business Hall of Fame Board of Directors, I am honored to announce that 2023 Hall of Fame inductee Alan Dreeben and his wife Barbara have committed to funding not 1, but 2 future Texas Business Legend Scholar Awards. Thank you, Alan and Barbara. The Texas State University Award will now be called the Alan and Barbara Dreeben Future Texas Business Legend Award. And starting in '24, we will also fund a new award for the University of Texas, San Antonio. Thank y'all both again. I would also like to thank Marie and James Galloway Foundation for building on the success of our Veteran Awards program, which began this very night 4 years ago here in San Antonio. I am proud to announce a new prize, the Future Texas Legend Army Veteran Award in honor of James Galloway. This award was designated for an Army veteran and will be given to a veteran who has demonstrated entrepreneurial excellence and a strong track record in business leadership in the state of Texas. We thank you to the Galloway Foundation. This is also the first year of the Sean D. Kennedy Award of Excellence in Empathy and Innovation. Sean was a good friend of mine and a mentor. He was our 2019 chair and unfortunately passed away at a too young of an age last year. This award recognizes an entrepreneur who is focused on solutions for those with physical and/or developmental disabilities. This award was seeded by Harvey Najum and supported generously by the Kennedy family and friends of Sean and Debbie. Debbie, it's great having you here tonight. Thank you very much to Mr. and Mrs. Dreeben, the Galloway Foundation, Harvey Najum, the Kennedy family, for helping us support and champion the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs who represent a bright future for the great state of Texas. We are grateful and proud of these new awards and to provide to deserving recipients this year and going forward. We are so grateful. Thank you very much. Now please join me in welcoming back to the stage Mr. Dan Goodgame.
Thank you, John. Tonight, you will hear the stories of 7 individuals who have left a lasting mark on the state of Texas. Through their leadership, innovation, and commitment to their communities, the 2023 Hall of Fame inductees exemplified Texas business at its best. Please sit back and enjoy this video as we celebrate our first inductee this evening, Beaver Aplin.
I get asked sometimes why the travel center business. My grandfather in a small town in Louisiana had the little mercantile store. It had a gas pump out front. And so I remember running around as a young child, always wanting to get involved. Maybe it was in my DNA. I was born in Texas. Actually, I grew up in Lake Jackson. So I went to school at Texas A&M. And I studied construction sciences. I interviewed with a company out of Houston. My first job was going to be that there was a new engineering building being built on the Texas A&M campus. I thought I'd probably died and gone to heaven. I was going to get to stay in College Station, live there, and I was going to get paid to do it. The one caveat that I didn't hear was that the company had to be awarded the bid to build the building. We didn't get the job. I had to pivot. I was days from graduating, and I had no job, no prospect because I just went all in on this job. I came back to Lake Jackson. I had a friend at the time that lived in a neighboring town, and he had a convenience store. He called it Don's Quick Stop. After kind of seeing what Don was doing, somewhere I got bitten by the bug and I decided to create a convenience store. I built it right down the street from where I live, and in 1981 I started construction. Opened the store July of 1982. My nickname's Beaver. I named it Buc-ee's after my Labrador Retriever and made the logo a buck-toothed beaver, so, you know, go figure. In 2003, 21 years later, I built the first travel center. The stores are big. We just have a philosophy that we want to give plenty space for the customer. We want to have plenty space for the inventory. The bathrooms are tremendous. Lots of fueling positions. When a customer comes in, they look around, they go, wow, this is nice. And so they're in a good mood. And that boosts the mood of the people that work there. And if our people are in a good mood, that boosts the customers. So the culture at Buc-ee's is to provide an exceptional service for our customer and to be happy about it.
Buc-ee's is not a truck stop, it's a travel center. Beaver has the cleanest restroom on the highway. The food choices are unbelievable. I challenge you to walk into that store, use the restroom, and not walk out of there without buying 2 or 3 things.
The Buc-ee's store is a culture, and the restrooms are part of the magic of that. I met him in a store a number of years ago, and I said, Beaver, you don't need all these restrooms. Why do you do that? He said, because you talk about it.
We're up to, I believe, 45 or 46 stores now. We're in 8 states. My partner Don and I take great pride in the pay scale that we have. We are generally at least 50% higher than the industry norm, if you will. We feel like that we want to give everybody an opportunity to have a real livable wage.
One of the unique things in most of the stores near the checkout counter, he'll have posted the employee's salary, even the manager's salary. I've never seen anybody do anything like that.
Beaver Aplin is a philanthropic person. He shares the fruits of his labor, particularly with his alma mater, Texas A&M University.
I've recently been asked to be involved in creating a new College of Hospitality and Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M. We're going to build a building that we're calling the Aplin Center. It's going to have food, beverage, hospitality, retail study, entrepreneurship, the whole ball of wax.
Each year at the Bush School at Texas A&M, our family has sponsored a Bush School McLean leadership lecture. Sometimes the auditorium was half full or a little more than half full. We had Beaver receive this lecture award. It was overflowing. They were out in the lobby. He has a charisma that people want to be around him and hear him talk.
One of Beaver's most important philanthropic goals has been working with Texas Park and Wildlife. He knows the park system in Texas. He's a conservationist. We couldn't have a better man at the head of the Texas Park and Wildlife Department.
The opportunity to try to make our state, our resources, our wildlife, our parks better has been probably the finest thing that I've ever done. For a boy that grew up, you know, chasing grasshoppers in Texas, it is just a dream come true.
I've been around a lot of highly successful people. I was around Sam Walton. Sam was the creative inspiration behind Walmart. Every time you see Sam, he had a new idea. Every time you're around Beaver, Beaver has a new idea. That's the way they're geared. God intended both of them to be retailers. It's like being a great artist. You either have the talent or you don't. And Beaver's got the talent.
Here to introduce Beaver Aplin is Hall of Fame legend Jeff Hildebrand.
Good evening. Tonight it is my distinct honor to introduce my good friend Beaver Aplin. Beaver is joined tonight by his wife Joni and their children. Beaver and Joni have achieved remarkable success in both their business ventures and philanthropic endeavors. But Beaver would say his proudest accomplishment lies in his children. Anyone who has spent time with Beaver will tell you he is the most genuine, energetic, and optimistic person you will meet. For the aspiring young business leaders among us, there is much to learn from Beaver's journey. In 1981, he was a 22-year-old kid with a Labrador named Buck and a brilliant idea to design and construct a new type of convenience store. Without wasting time on idle chatter or dwelling on potential challenges, Beaver made his idea a reality. From that first two-pump convenience store, Buc-ee's evolved into a cultural phenomenon across multiple states. Beaver's creation is an essential part of every Texan's road trip and is integrated into the fabric of Texas culture. He has a simple but profound credo that anyone in business should pay attention to. Always exceed the customer's expectations. Buc-ee's is such a cultural phenomenon that a University of Houston economics professor has coined a new economic theorem. He calls it Buc-eenomics, not to be confused in the least with Bidenomics. The model is used to conceptualize complex and networked markets, and I think there is no finer example of the theorem than the Luling, Texas Buc-ee's store. However, there's a nasty trademark fight between U of H and the University of Wisconsin mascot Bucky Badger on using the name. So Beaver, you better jump in and tell them where the real Bucky's name came from. Beaver's business philosophy extends into his civic engagement and philanthropy, something I know Beaver finds to be incredibly fulfilling. From local charitable organizations to the Aplin Center at Texas A&M and so much more, his focus remains on action and positive outcomes. Beaver isn't simply a generous benefactor or figurehead on honorary boards. For the past several years, I've had the privilege of serving with him on the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission. I found him to be a deliberate, thoughtful leader who studies, measures outcomes, and challenges those around him to exceed expectations. Beaver, thank you for your contribution to the Texas business community. You are altogether worthy of this recognition. It is my honor to introduce Arch Beaver Aplin III and welcome him to the Texas Business Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Jeff. It's quite an honor to be here in front of so many friendly faces and so many deserving people. I don't even know where to start. My friend Jeff and I, as he mentioned, got to serve on Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission together for quite some time now, and it's been quite an experience. And I'm here to tell everyone that our parks and our wildlife are in good hands with our commission and with our new chairman, Jeff Hildebrand. So y'all should. I want to thank my family. They're all here. My wife, Joni, and all my kids are over there. So, hey, guys. Thank y'all. This video is the first time I saw it right there. So I didn't know. They said some really nice things. And so, I very much appreciate that. This organization and to be inducted into this group is quite an honor. It is about business. It is the Texas Business Hall of Fame. But I believe without a certain level of philanthropy and giving, it's one of the main criterias that is important for this outfit. And I'm starting to realize more and more and feel more and more the opportunities and the obligations to give back for the blessings that we have had in our family. And this started out in 1982 with a 3,000 square foot convenience store, like I said, that I named after my Labrador Retriever, and I made my logo a beaver because that's my nickname. But it never occurred to me that it would turn into all of this. And so those kind of blessings that have been bestowed on myself and my family, I think it's incumbent on us to give back. There's a lot of places to give. It was mentioned on the thing. My alma mater is Texas A&M University, and so that is obviously important to me and why we're there, but there's lots of other opportunities as well, and so that's a big thing in this group. We had recipients that we honored today, incredible young people with great entrepreneurial spirit that are going to do some really neat things in life, and that's really what this is all about, I think, is helping support the next generation of people that are going to do special things in Texas. And speaking of Texas, I also heard, I think that we're the 9th largest economy in the world. So wrap your mind around that a minute. Yeah. And so I'm also reminded that my fellow business people, my friend Jeff, all of us, we had the opportunity to conduct business in Texas. And we're now outside of Texas, but I'm here to tell you there's no place like Texas. And yeah. And so the opportunities abound. I noticed with the young people that were up here, I could see the excitement, the sparkle in their eye. They're ready to get started. They're ready to go do something. And they're very deserving of the awards that they got. So there's many other recipients or inductees that are coming. So I'm going to get off this stage. I just want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for loving Texas, for being a Buc-ee's fan, for appreciating what we do and what we bring to the market. And I just can't say enough. As my 5th grade teacher told me, Mrs. Bankson, one day, and I didn't understand it then, I understand it now. She said, her cup runneth over, and my cup runneth over. Thank y'all, and God bless Texas.
Congratulations, Beaver. Our next inductees this evening are business partners, brothers-in-law, and visionary leaders behind one of the nation's leading wholesale wine and spirits businesses. This is the story of Eddie Block and Alan Dreeben.
My father-in-law, Ed Block, was my mentor and my best friend. He started the company in 1939. Hopefully he'd be proud of what Eddie and I have done. Currently, we're one of the largest privately held companies in America. We do business in 40 states. We probably have 12,000 people. It was exciting. The journey was exciting. Eddie and I are approximately the same age, within 6 months of each other. We started about the same time. He was over the spirits, I was over the wine, and it just seemed to work.
I've got a lot of guidance from my father, Ed Block. He guided us to be fair, work hard every day, and he was kind of our guiding light as to how to conduct ourselves.
He thought that the wine business might get big one day, and he said that Ernest Gallo had just hired training from Procter & Gamble. Would I like to go? And I said, I'm all over it. My interest in wine grew as I was spending my year in California. Wine became a vocation to me. I had looked around the world and everybody's drinking wine except in Texas. I wanted to be part of something that was emerging. When I came back from working with Gallo in California, our volume was 250,000. Today it's 6 billion. Not bad, huh?
Both Eddie and Alan are unbelievable businessmen, and they had a vision and had the audacity to take risks.
Opportunities came along, and we seized upon them.
We grew a little at a time. We started acquiring things like Oklahoma, West Texas. That's when we knew that the industry was to be consolidated. We would go after some companies, and some companies would come to us.
From starting with a local regional company here in Texas and then growing it to where they are the second largest wine and spirit distributor in the country, it did take a great deal of vision.
Republic National Distributing Company is really based on a set of core values: family, honesty, accountability, service, and professionalism. It was really established through Eddie and Alan in terms of how they operated every single day. And it is a bedrock of who we are, and I believe one of the real reasons why this organization is successful.
They've instilled all the right values as a result of that. I mean, you look at where the company is today and what they've accomplished, I think they have a lot to be thankful for.
Eddie Block is an amazing leader in the organization. Eddie has the ability to engage in every aspect of the business, whether it's in the sales side of the business or back of the house operations. His curiosity and understanding of the business really defines who he is as a business leader. Alan Dreeben has an amazing ability to connect with people. He's been such a mentor to so many individuals. At the core of it, the business is really about relationships. The relationships that he has had and he's fostered over his career are truly amazing. He really cares about their progress, how that makes them continue to reach higher for what they have the potential to achieve in their careers.
Alan is a very generous man, and he has a heart of gold. He's always been passionate about education. He's been passionate about healthcare. He's done a lot to help us build our communities.
I have spent a lot of my time and energy in the educational field, whether it be the University of Texas system, UTSA and UT Austin and Texas State University. I was on the board.
Throughout Eddie and Alan's career and their lives, they've been very philanthropic. If I think about what they've established inside of RNDC, whether it's the RNDC Relief Fund that allows us to come to the aid of families of associates that have been impacted by a natural disaster, or it's our college scholarship program.
We're very close with the United Way. I'm also involved with the San Antonio Area Foundation, which I think is another wonderful organization. Anything to do with children, I think is very important.
When you talk about Eddie, one thing that I know everyone would agree is that he was a tough businessman. And it wasn't always just about the impact to the bottom line, but it was the impact that it was going to have into positioning the company for the future, and most importantly, the impact it was going to have on our people.
It was an incredible journey. To be associated with Eddie, it's someone who has incredible ethics and values. We were blessed to kind of find like souls. When we did disagree, we compromised, and we did something good in this world.
Here to introduce Eddie Block and Alan Dreeben is Hall of Fame legend Dick Evans.
It's my pleasure to introduce Eddie Block and Alan Dreeben, brothers-in-laws and partners in their business. Frostbank relationship started with the Block family in 1953 when Ed Block borrowed $20,000 to expand his distribution business from Tom Frost Sr. Ed then, a year later, called Mr. Frost and said, "Mr. Frost, I'm bringing a check to pay the loan in full plus interest, and I'm bringing a bottle of champagne because we're going to celebrate." Mr. Frost said, "Well, we don't drink alcohol in the bank." And Ed said, "Well, you're going to drink it this time because that was too hard." The business continued to grow through those years. And then, as we all know, Eddie and Alan came along, who had a vision for even greater heights. And they first needed to dominate the San Antonio, and they dominated San Antonio, but they wanted to dominate Texas. And through an acquisition in Houston and Dallas and other smaller ones, they then took that position of being the dominant distributor. Alan always focused on the spirits, and Eddie, Alan was on the spirits, and Alan focused on the wines. Soon, Alan and Eddie realized that having a Texas company was wonderful, but the industry was changing. And so the next thing they began to do is they brought a partner in from New Orleans, then went to Atlanta, Georgia, and then continued to work around in all those areas. Today, Republic National Beverage Company is a family-owned business, one of the nation's leading wholesale beverage alcohol distributors, 40 markets from coast to coast with revenues of $13 billion. Please welcome Eddie Block and Alan Dreeben.
Oh, please. Oh, my God. I'm really a pretty good public speaker, but you guys have messed me up by standing up. So if I mess up, it's your fault. I'm blown away by tonight. This is one hell of a reception. I can't believe it. I want to thank the Texas Business Hall of Fame for this recognition. I am humbled and I am honored by all this. Never in a million years did I think my name would be associated with the past recipients and current recipients. Truly the culmination of my 60 years in the business, or our 60 years in the business. I still think you made a mistake, but I'm taking it. I want to go back about 60 years. That I went to work for Ed Block in South Texas, and he started the company, as it's been said, in 1939. He's just a little warehouse, a truck, and a dream. And today, now we're in 40 states with thousands of associates. I don't like the word employee. And I'm so proud of all of them. There's a table that has several of my associates. They're like family. And without them, we would have never done it. They were a critical part of our success. And probably the proudest part is that they did it with ethics and values. And we still do that today. I'm so proud of that. Now I want to thank you. It's a rare thing. I now want to kind of switch gears and go over to thanking my family. My beautiful wife, Barbara, right in front. 3 great daughters, Lisa, Allison, and Paige. My son-in-laws for putting up with me, Kelly, Josh, and Mark. Thank you for putting up with me on this incredible journey. I loved every minute of it. And ups and downs just didn't make any difference. I'm going to close by saying another passion, which is evident from this, is that besides my family and RNDC, is education. And if you want a more productive world and a safer world, you educate the masses. And so I'm proud to be part of this, in that the Texas Business Hall of Fame, you've seen all the scholarships that they've given. They're doing a part of all that. I debate whether to close my remarks with this, but I'm going to say it. I'm an American of the Jewish faith. I'm not an Israeli. I hurt for them, and I hurt for the Palestinians. I just hope you'll keep them in your thoughts and your prayers so that we can get this thing over with. Thank you very much. got it?
Well, I guess you're handing it off to me?
It's up to you.
Well, been working on this for
Yeah, speak in the microphone.
Thank you all for, can y'all hear me? Thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate the induction of the newest members of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. At the heart of the Texas Business Hall of Fame is philanthropy, something that is important to me, and it's important to everybody in this room, because you all support a lot of things, as you know. It's by those young people who were out here earlier. So what I'm going to attempt to do is tell you all what the origin of block distributing and the evolution of block distributing. So at about 1940, my father was a route salesman for a wine bottling operation and distributor in Denver, where he was from, and he was good at it. And then things changed a little bit, and the owner of the business, the distributorship in Colorado, was taken by my father, and he decided to offer my father an opportunity. And the opportunity was to move to San Antonio, where he had never been, and that way it was going to give him something. Well, the business wasn't doing well, and he thought my father had just the ingredients to make it work. So my father moved to San Antonio. Part of the deal was that he got a warehouse and he got wine bottling equipment. So he would continue to bring in tank cars of wine by rail, and things were going pretty well. I had heard about Texas Business Hall of Fame several years ago, and once I heard about it, then I would look in the press the following years to see like the identities of the next group to be in the Hall of Fame. So that all, one of the things you all learned tonight, if not you didn't know it before, is that this once you're inducted into the Hall of Fame, you're automatically elevated to legend, and which I think is appropriate. And so I would look over the inductees for that year, and then they would publish the legends from years past, and the more I looked at it, the list, I knew that it was made up of my business heroes in the state of Texas. Well, then my father, sorry. So my father moved to San Antonio and started bringing in tank cars of wine for sales to Texans. The owner of the distributorship sent my father down to San Antonio, and it was my father's dream to make it a success.
I think that's
Where am I here? Anyway, so my father enlisted two cousins lived in Colorado to come down and help him run this business. One was in charge of the wine bottling equipment and the wine in tank cars, and the other gentleman the other cousin, would procure the bulk wine that came in by rail, and then he would also be in charge of bottling, deliveries, and collections. And then something really positive happened. World War II was ending, and prior to that, the alcohol that was heretofore used to make spirits, which were very popular in those days. So what they would do, they would send the wine to the war effort. And they did that for a long time. So then Prohibition ended, and they, I think, what? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I think that's enough.
So spirits were now becoming available again, and that was an opportunity that my father spotted, and with his connections in the industry, he was able to get spirits added to the wines that he had, and that made all the difference in the world. There was so much pent-up demand for spirits. It was pretty easy to be successful. Then my father decided it was time to spread his wings and buy some distributorships in other parts of Texas. And then he went to contiguous states to open up distributorships for wines and spirits. So the dream was still alive. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I will. Well, on behalf of our family and the thousands of our associates in 40 states, thank you for this recognition and your generosity. Thanks in large part to you and your generosity, my father's dream is still alive, and we owe it a lot of it to the Texas Business Hall of Fame. So 84 years later, the dream is still alive. Thank you.
Congratulations, Eddie and Alan. Our next inductee this evening is Kit Goldsbury.
Ice is made from fresh vegetables and spices. By folks in San Antonio who know what pecani sauce should taste like.
Or this stuff's made in New York City. New York City!
I grew up split between San Antonio and Mexico, and it taught me a lot about Mexican culture. I started working with my father-in-law, David Pace, at Pace Foods. I started on the production line. We were chopping peppers and chopping onions, and that wasn't exactly what I had in mind. And then I moved into sales, and that was what I really enjoyed doing. When I started in sales, we ended up at about $250,000, a very low number. And ended up at about $260 million in sales. That was a big number. I never did too well in school. One thing I did learn in school is I better surround myself with real smart people. I've had a partner in crime, Rod Sands.
Kit wanted to be the best. He wanted the product to be the best. Being second best didn't get you anywhere because you've got competitors out there trying to take your business around every corner. And that's where the saying, good enough isn't enough, comes from. Under Kit's leadership, Pace grew from literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. He loved that company. He loved the people in the company. He surprised me when he decided to sell the company. It was the last thing I expected him to do.
We kept seeing more and more come in the business, and they would take tiny shares, but every little share counted. We started measuring that every year to see, is this the time, is this not? So we did that for about 5 years, and finally got to the point where, yeah, it's time. We sold it to Campbell Soup for $1.1 billion.
After the Pace Foods success, Kit thought, well, I have a lot to offer to other entrepreneurs who have small food companies that have great products, but they either don't have the management skill or the capital to be able to grow those products. That was Silver Ventures.
What we did is we bought 4 or 5 small companies with the idea of building them up. One of our food companies that did work out of that group was a company called Nature Sweet. The company is the largest tomato selling company in the country.
Kit had a vision. Let's go change the lives of these agricultural workers who are traditionally the most oppressed workforce in the world. And that has been the greatest opportunity, is get to watch 6,000 people participate at Nature Sweet in transforming the agricultural world. Kit has a superpower to be able to see the potential of beauty in a place no one else can see it. If you come to Pearl, you're gonna see that in buckets. Someone 125 years ago made a decision to make the brew house beautiful. Kit saw that and said, that ought to be preserved.
I was aware of Pearl for a long time, and I've always loved the buildings because I grew up around them. So we bought them, and then we decided, what are we going to do now? We started slowly, started building places for people to live. We had 2 restaurants that came in and gave us credibility. I had taken some courses with the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, so I thought that would be a great thing to have here.
When Pearl was established, it was first, let's make this a culinary center. But the second part was, how do we bring people who traditionally have been in the back of the kitchen, generally Hispanics or other people of color, and how do we have the opportunity to bring them to the front of the kitchen and to be sous chefs, executive chefs, entrepreneurs, operators, general managers.
CIA saw this was a great market for them. To this day, we still do about 40% Hispanic students, and that's going out into the city of San Antonio and turned it into a food destination. What's important to me are children. That's what's in our philosophy for giving money away.
In the city of San Antonio, we have a serious issue related to childhood obesity. Kit has committed a significant amount of resources to the education of our youth and to exposing children to healthy eating. If we can train them in the habits of healthy eating now, it can transform their lives to physical health and well-being for their future. You say to someone, the entire nation is not going to like salsa. You're not going to be able to transform the lives of agricultural workers through growing tomatoes. You're not going to be able to take a demilitarized zone, which was the Pearl Brewery, and turn it into one of the most beautiful areas in the country, and then he does. And that starts with Kit and his idea of make great products with great people.
Here to introduce Kit Goldsbury is Hall of Fame legend Graham Weston.
It's great to have the Hall of Fame in San Antonio this year. We get to show off our city to you.
We're very proud of this city. The person who has made the greatest contribution to this city, the greatest, in the last 20 years, is Kit Goldsbury. I hope all of you recognize Pace Pecani Sauce, a company built to be $1 billion company, but I think the most important part of his life began after that, because he decided to build something beautiful for his hometown of San Antonio. He bought the Pearl against the advice of his advisors. You can understand that. The Pearl was a money pit. Who would have advised him to take an old brewery, a derelict brewery, and build it into something beautiful? It seemed impossible, but he did it anyway. The first featured tenant he wanted to have in there was the Culinary Institute of America, the CIA, the premier culinary school in America. And everyone said he couldn't get the CIA to move to San Antonio, but he did it with a lot of creativity and his vision. He was just determined to make it happen. And then he launched the Hotel Emma. Without a Marriott flag, without a Hyatt flag, he built it his own. And the experts said he couldn't do it. But I challenge you to find a room in the Emma Hotel. You know, Kit is not an artist, but he loves beauty. And he loves the fact that the Emma is so beautiful, and his every detail is something that he's proud of, just silently. Because Kit's face is not recognized in San Antonio very often, and that's exactly the way he wants it. So I like to think about Kit's face for our city as being the beauty at Pearl. But I think the other part of the story is not about beauty or things. It's about the way he treats people. He's known for saying that it doesn't cost anything to treat people well, and that's exactly how he operates. One of my favorite businesses that he grew to being a mammoth everyday brand is Nature Sweet tomatoes. You'll see them in the store. They used to be in the little on the vine package. Now they're in little cartons, little packages. You know, we all know that we go to Mexico if we want to find cheap labor, right? That's not why he went to Mexico. He grew up going to his family's ranch down in Mexico, spoke Spanish, and really had a feel for the goodness and the capability and the dignity of the Mexican people. So he grew Nature Sweet in Mexico because that's where that company needed to be. And he built it with 6,000 hardworking employees who got dignity and a good job, and he treated them well. If you want to see the beauty that he's brought to the world, please go to the Hotel Emma and walk around the Pearl. You'll see everyone is included at the Pearl. Everyone is invited, whether you bring an ice chest or whether you buy a popsicle from him or not. Everyone is invited. And if you go there on almost every night, you'll see everyone from across San Antonio there. He's a man of inclusion. He's a man of respect for the people. I admire him so much. And just know that he has brought so much change, beauty, and belief. We're a city on the rise, and he's a very big reason why. I'm honored to introduce Kit Goldsbury.
Thank you, Graham. I sincerely appreciate your recognition and the recognition of this esteemed organization. Now, I'm not much on making speeches. I never have liked to it much, like my friend who I think's in computers, if anybody knows Graham very well. So he showed me, don't worry about this is not a big deal. You took out a computer, he punched in a few letters, and out comes a speech. And it mentioned everything I was probably going to mention and everything else. I couldn't believe it. I said, with no sweat, I'll just punch it in this machine and spit something out and have a great speech. Well, the only trouble with that is Graham Weston introduced me. He knows a little something about computers and things, so everybody would get that, knowing that I know nothing except a little hot sauce and some ranching and so forth. Anyway, as I've been reflecting on my journey to this point, a couple of themes have showed up. First, I was thinking about the culture of Texas, what it asks us and what it inspires in us. Growing up here, there was always a sense of wide openness, the bigness of our skies, and the sheer vastness and still wildness of this place inspired me to dream big, to dream about making an impact on my city, my community, and on the lives of people in the generations that will follow. I wasn't always sure about how, but I was always sure about the why, and I was always excited by the challenge of figuring it out. Dreams are what reveal our interests, what we are drawn to, and often what we have a natural ability to do well. Those are the characteristics that turn dreams into realities and transform ideas, teams, and in our case, businesses. I've found that the cycle of dreaming, focusing, and practicing is at the heart of what we all do to achieve our goals, and most importantly, to create space for others to achieve their dreams as well. As I reflect on my own life, one of the first memories of recognizing leadership was when I was a kid on our ranch in northern Mexico. This was a working ranch and still is, and the vaqueros would ride and run cattle across vast distances. One vaquero stood out to me. He was clearly the leader. Everyone followed him, listened to him, looked to him when things got tough, but also when it was time to celebrate, he'd lead. Believe me, he'd lead. One time, they all wore shirts that had the ranch name on it, and they have big rodeos and stuff in town, and here were all these cowboys with our shirts on with the Babia printed on them. They were all drunk as heck. So we made them get off those horses and take those shirts off and keep drinking. Yet he was a quiet guy, never yelling, not the biggest, showiest of the cowboys, the leader. He got me to thinking, what characteristics did this man possess that inspired his team to look to him as their leader? As I watched more carefully, I noticed the subtle things he did, like listening to people, giving other cowboys the chance to take the lead, supporting versus commanding. Whether I knew it or not at the time, I believe I took these lessons learned from a quiet cowboy with me and through many different roles in my life. At Pace, we were growing the company. I knew that we needed to create a culture that encouraged a listening leadership, not a commanding leadership, so that every associate felt like they had a voice and a real role in what we were all creating together. That has always been the thing that I'm most excited about, and it's at the center of everything I've worked on, from Pace to Nature Suite, to La Babia to Pearl, to Hotel Emma to the CIA. They're not made real by me, but by teams of people that have dreamt them with me. And that's a really important element of all of this for me, not just me believing in my own dreams, but truly believing in dreams of others. That's the engine for everything. Every day over the course of my life, I've been awestruck and inspired by the power that human beings have when they believe in themselves and their dreams. So find something you're good at and spend a lot of time on it. I see it in the fierceness of the freshman year culinary student, first in their family to go to college, with a passion and a vision for what they want to create through their work. I see it in our associates at Emma, by one of the housekeeping managers who declares they have committed to transforming the hospitality industry through their passion to extraordinary service. I see it in the entrepreneurs that bring their ideas to us, trust us with their unique talents and visions, and take the leap with us to create new things. And I see it today among my fellow honorees, leaders who have innovated, led with their dreams. Their incredible hard work and abilities reveal their hearts In their commitments, they have made and turned dreams into world-changing realities. Again, I want to thank the Business Hall of Fame for acknowledging me today, and in doing so, acknowledging the incredible teams of people I've had the privilege of working with throughout my many adventures. I want to thank our great state of Texas, home to big dreams and bigger hearts, a place in culture in which anything is possible when we work together, trust each other, and dream big. I want to thank my wife, Angie, who saved my life and by blessing me with our son, Christopher, and supporting me all these years. And in closing, I'll leave with this thought that I often tell my son, Christopher: if you can dream it, you can do it. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kit. One more time. Please join me as we honor our next inductee this evening, Janet Gurwitch.
I have to say, I never believed it wouldn't work. I always believed I was going to figure it out. I grew up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. My father owned a small chain of shoe stores, and I think it's there that I got my interest in retail. I had cousins that lived in Houston, and I would write in my diary, I love the Astrodome, and they have steak and ale. I went to the University of Alabama, where my parents had been as well. So I'm a senior, have excellent grades, I'm president of my school, and I apply to Foley's, which has an executive training program. And I received the following letter that says, Dear Miss Gurwitch, we at Foley's interview on 8 select college campuses, and the University of Alabama is not among them. My father, sensing my huge disappointment, suggested I toss the letter, take Southwest Airlines, and fly to Houston. I did just that, got the job, and enjoyed a 17-year career at Foley's. I loved my career at Foley's, but I was called to interview to be the executive vice president of Neiman Marcus, and I got that job. It just changed my whole path. I went from planning one-day red apple sales for Foley's to sitting on the front row, center seat at the Chanel show. I was one step away from being first woman CEO of Neiman Marcus, and I decided to toss it all away and to leave my very cushy first-class lifestyle at Neiman Marcus. Before I left, I wrote a business plan for myself on how would I build a cosmetics company. I didn't know how to name it, and Janet Gurwitch has no ring to it. I decided I needed a professional makeup artist. So I called the beauty editors of Vogue magazine, Harper's Bazaar, and asked them who are the world's top makeup artists. One of those women was Laura Mercier, and I licensed her name. I started Laura Mercier with my own money. I started it in Houston. We launched with Neiman Marcus 3 stores and Henry Bendel's in New York City. And then I really needed a partner, and I called my former colleagues at Neiman Marcus, and they said, we'd like to invest in you. They bought half of Kate Spade, another top brand, and 51% of Laura Mercier.
Janet was combining the no makeup look. She understood how to build the brand to really bring beauty into the next chapter of where beauty was going.
It worked very well with Neiman Marcus. They were great partners. And then in 2006, Kate Spade and I were called in and we sold. After I sold Laura Mercier, I still wanted to be in the game. The family that had owned Neiman's in Bergdorf's had started a private equity fund named Castanea. I was over beauty. It was a great experience for me because it got me on a third career, private equity.
I learned everything about private equity from Janet. She is considered the best of the best in the beauty side of private equity. She's determined and she's wicked smart.
In late 2019, Castanea decided not to go forward. We had sold the 4 brands that we had together very successfully. I joined Advent, a global fund, about $90 billion, and they had just bought Olaplex, a hair brand. I had watched this brand have a meteoric rise, and we took it public actually in October 21 on NASDAQ.
Janet strikes me as someone who learns from experiences and builds on them. She's the only woman co-owner of the Houston Astros.
I was so fortunate because I am good friends with Jim Crane. In 2012, he was getting investors to buy the Astros, and I did join him on that, and he has been gracious to put me on the board, and I have just learned so much. Not to mention, I have 2 World Series rings with my name on it.
Janet understands that with success comes a responsibility of helping others. And Janet is drawn to the visual arts and supports the Museum of Fine Arts Houston as well as the Menil Collection. The Menil Collection is a museum that is a number of art buildings and green spaces in central Houston. Everything that we do is free and open to the public. And I think that's something that Janet really admires. She likes this idea that art is an integral part of human experience and that there should be barriers to it. And she has been so great about supporting that vision. One of the things that she does that's the most important to her is making sure to mentor young businesswomen and entrepreneurs.
Janet is one of the most successful mentors of women in the beauty industry. She's become an icon, building one of the strongest beauty brands ever, and that's due to Janet's foresight and her conviction. I just can't wait to see what Janet does next. She's full of energy. There's going to be several more chapters for Janet Gurwitch, and they're all going to be brilliant.
Here to introduce Janet Gurwitch is Hall of Fame legend Jim Crane.
Good evening, everybody. I just want a quick note before I get to Janet, which is a great story. Watching all the young people lined up here tonight, I have an example of a young kid that got a scholarship about 4 years ago. He had an idea of growing the memorabilia at the Astros thing for charity. And since then, he's raised $5 million for charity with his idea and his entrepreneurship. And so thank you very much for putting these kids up here. They'll do a great job. It's an honor to introduce Janet tonight. She's going to be a great Texas Business Hall of Famer. She's had a great career and is still going strong. I've known her over 30 years. She kind of snuck into Texas because she's got a little accent from Alabama. And she will tell you, she didn't put it in her video, but she sold some shoes before. So she had a great career at Foley's, Neiman Marcus, and she's hung out with people at Chanel, Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. What ladies, who wouldn't want to do that? And been very successful every time. She had the drive and the guts to start a business. All you know how hard that is to take that first step and go out with your own money and put your tail on the line. And had a great success with L'Oreal Mercier. She worked in private equity. She figured that out. She took a company public and was very successful with that. Everything she's touched, she's been very successful. Her touch even carried over to baseball, I have to tell the truth. In 2012, Janet and I met somewhere, and I said, I'm raising some money for the Astros. Would you be interested in putting a little money in? And she said, sure. And I said, let's come by the office. We'll talk about it. And so we're talking about it. And I said, do you know anything about baseball? She goes, a little bit. And I said, I had a couple baseballs on my desk because sometimes I'll throw them at somebody if I don't like what they're talking about. But I picked up a ball and I said, do you know what a slider is? She goes, is that when somebody slides into a base? I said, no, it's a pitch. And you hold it like this and you throw it out of your hand like that. And she goes, oh, okay. Well, she didn't know anything about baseball. But I can tell you right now, she can tell you what spin rate is, launch angle, bat speed, and we have an opening right now for a manager, and I'm quite confident she could be the new manager. She is smart, she is bright, she is engaging, and you definitely want her on your team. Janet, my friend Janet, welcome to the Business Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Jim, for introducing me tonight and giving me a front row seat watching you rebuild the Houston Astros to be a perennial winner. I now know when a pitcher throws a slider versus a curveball, and I cherish my World Series rings. Thank you. As a young girl in Mississippi, I dreamed of a much more exciting life. I wanted to combine my love of fashion and beauty with business. The unlikely part of my story is that I've been able to enjoy my fashion-based career in my adopted home state of 4 decades, Texas. I started with Foley's department store in Houston and then had a game-changing opportunity to be the executive vice president of Neiman Marcus in Dallas. Neiman's had $2 billion in revenues at the time, and it was a terrific opportunity for me. It had a lot of excitement at Neiman's. I got to represent Neiman's in Milan and Paris at the fashion shows and had many memorable events, but my favorite was dinner with Princess Diana at Kensington Palace for London Fashion Week. And all of the glitz and glamour of this job was a pretty heady trip for a girl from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The irony of this is that it was at Neiman Marcus that I decided to toss the corporate world aside and become an entrepreneur. 2 things contributed to that decision. I had this wonderful opportunity to work with some of the great designers and brand builders in the world. I worked personally with Calvin Klein, Giorgio Armani, Ralph Lauren, and the Ferragamo families. I admired how they had built brands that had lasted 50 to 100 plus years. At the same time, I noticed that at the beauty industry, which had long been dominated by behemoths like L'Oreal and Estee Lauder, there was a little inkling of opening for independent brands. I believed it was a major inflection point in the beauty industry, and I wanted in on it. I decided to start my own cosmetics company with a new, modern approach. I was 42. I thought, if not now, when? I originally thought to be an entrepreneur, you had to create something that didn't previously exist. I always thought you had to create Apple, Facebook, Google. It didn't register to me that you could just create a better running shoe and call it Nike, or that you could supersize a gas and convenience store chain innovatively and brilliantly name it Buc-ee's. My idea was to build a global cosmetics brand around a world-class makeup artist, Laura Mercier. With her beautiful melodic name, she was the top artist for the celebrities Madonna, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Julia Roberts. Together, we built a brand with premier quality products, and we had a core that we called the Flawless Face. Now, when you start something like a cosmetics company, you realize there is no shortage of mascara. So you have to ask yourself as an entrepreneur, what are my key points of difference? What was my brand's reason to be? And how could I create a global brand? I had a difficult time raising money in Texas. So as an entrepreneur, you have to think outside of the box. I decided to fly to San Antonio and approach the H-E-B chief merchant, a young Scott McClellan, about developing a private label brand for HEB. He agreed, we did it. It was a great success for HEB, and I got cash flow in the name of the brand we called Shades. That was good. Fortunately, with a very loyal, dedicated, talented team in Houston, we built Laura Mercier to reach my dream. In 10 years, we had grown Laura Mercier from 0 to 100 plus in revenues, 100 million in revenues. We ranked in the top 5 cosmetic brands at Neiman Marcus and Sephora. We were a key brand at Harrods in London, Printemps department store in Paris, and Isetan department store in Tokyo. We sold Laura Mercier in 25 countries, 400 employees. After selling Laura Mercier, I have spent the past decade in private equity, investing in beauty brands and working with entrepreneurs to help them reach their goals and then selling them successfully to strategics. 3 of those brands I'm really proud of: Urban Decay Cosmetics, Dollar Shave Club, and Drybar. I continue to search for the next great brand. So in conclusion, special thanks to Amanda Brock and Meredith Walker for helping me get here tonight. And thanks to my family and closest friends who came to San Antonio tonight, several of whom came from both coasts, for joining me. And particularly to Ron Franklin, the love of my life. A special call out to my 93-year-old parents, Shirley and Maury Gurwitch, who live in Houston and were unable to be here, but whose vision and support gave me the freedom to pursue a pretty atypical life. Baseball has a plethora of great quotes. So to my fellow entrepreneurs, this is one of my favorites from Babe Ruth. Don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Keep swinging. Tonight is a life highlight for me. Thank you, Texas Business Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Janet. What a story. And now, please join me to watch the story of tonight's next inductee, Daniel Lubetzky.
When we were trying to name Kind, we basically named it after my dad because he was an example of treating every human being with kindness. My parents have been the most important influence on me. My mom is a bridge builder, and my dad was this source of light, even though he had had one of the most difficult childhoods in the world. He was a Holocaust survivor. For me, it was an incredible example of the type of circumstances that I want to prevent from happening to others in the future. I was born in Mexico City, and I came to San Antonio, Texas, when I turned 16 years old. I went to Trinity University, and I studied a year abroad where I discovered my passion for using economics to build bridges between people. And while in law school at Stanford Law School, I kept working on that proposal. When I finished law school, I got a fellowship to try to turn that theory into practice. And I turned it into practice by partnering with Israelis, Palestinians, Jordanians, Egyptians, Turks. They were trading with one another, and as they were trading, they were shattering stereotypes, they were cementing relationships. At the micro level, I observed the power of market forces to help people discover each other's humanity. In some ways, PeaceWorks was the seed of all my success, including Kind and other civic work that I did. But in some ways, it was failure after failure after failure. You know, the first 10 years after law school, it was like no man's land. It was 2 steps forward, 2 steps backward. But then once we launched Kind, it was like a rocket engine. As I was working in my office till 16 hours and skipping lunch or dinner, I needed a snack that I could feel good about eating. And so I had the idea for a healthy snack that could be wholesome but also convenient, healthy and tasty. And that's how Kind came about.
Daniel started Kind in a basement room next to the trash compactor in New York City. It started as a line of 6 flavors of fruit and nut bars.
For years, you never saw a transparent snack bar. Kind Snacks was the first to let you see what you were buying.
50% of the products in the center of the aisle lead with an ingredient that's empty calories. For us, this is a very, very serious mission to try to lead with nutrient-dense ingredients that are kind to your body. We started with $10,000. It kept growing and growing and growing, and it doubled sales on average every year for 10 years in a row. Now in hundreds of thousands of stores, we sell north of $1 billion a year. It's valued in the many billions. Today, I'm still very passionately involved with Kind, but I also have a group of partners called Camino Partners, which is trying to help other entrepreneurs pursue their dreams and fulfill their potential by building value with values.
We're bringing the same cultural tenets that built Kind into this new endeavor. It's a very different business where we're investing in other people's journeys and dreams.
Daniel is an entrepreneur on steroids. He has built a world-class company that is global in its outreach and did it very quickly. He's built world-class charities that are also global in their outreach. The PeaceWorks Foundation and the One Voice movement, which is trying to move Israelis and Palestinians toward reconciliation and peace. The Ukrainian Scholarship Program, it's about having leaders that understand democratic values.
Daniel's style of philanthropy is actionism. You see something, you do something about it.
Even before and today, about half of my time is spent on civic work. I'm still very concerned about building bridges in the Middle East and about freedom and democracy across the world, but I'm just as concerned about what's happening in our country. I helped build a movement called Starts With Us that has over 250 members that have joined forces across the political spectrum to say we need to preserve what's made America such an exceptional country.
Daniel's accomplishments really are driven by the fact that he wants to see a better world.
Daniel is the most human I've ever met. What I've come to learn about him is just how impacted he was by his father's story. And that's influenced every philanthropic initiative, every business initiative that he's ever started in a very authentic way.
I get asked a lot the question of why I take on big challenges. I do it because I want my children to inherit a world where what happened to their grandfather won't happen to them. Our daily actions are going to shape the world we live in.
Here to introduce Daniel Lubetzky is Hall of Fame legend Kendra Scott.
Wow, I am so glad I'm not emceeing this year. I had to do that a few years back. I know how hard that is, and you're doing a fantastic job tonight. It is such a privilege to be back on this stage to introduce an individual who embodies qualities of compassion, innovation, and unwavering commitment to bettering our world. But before I'm going to jump into Daniel's remarkable achievements, because we could be here all night listening to them truly, I want to share with you how I personally come to know Daniel. You see, Daniel and his beautiful wife, Michelle, and their amazing family live right next door to me. We actually share a fence line, which we like to think that we might open up someday and just keep our yards open together. A few years ago, I was actually going to gear up for my Shark Tank debut, and I had heard that Daniel Lubetzky had bought the house next to me, and I was so excited, and I thought maybe he could give this baby shark some words of wisdom. So I had a friend connect us, and I called Daniel, and generously, he took 45 minutes of his time offering me invaluable advice based on his own time on the show, and I quickly realized in that 45-minute conversation he was going to be a friend for life. He's not just a neighbor that I call up for a cup of sugar or, rosemary if in their garden they've got some rosemary, I think. I stole it a few times, Michelle, I'm sorry. But also one that I can turn to for business insights, and many times I have. And he always does this with a smile on his face. I know how busy he is, but he picks up the phone and he gives his time, genuinely gives his time. And I've seen him do this, not just with me, but every single person that he encounters. Daniel is somebody that engages fully with everyone, literally everyone, making every interaction meaningful. And I consider myself incredibly lucky to have him as my mentor, my friend, and my neighbor. But the truth is, he treats everyone like his neighbor. You see, Daniel's journey is one marked by relentless pursuit of one thing, and that is goodness. Through his unwavering dedication, he has shown us that the power of one individual, driven by deep sense of empathy, can indeed transform communities and beyond. Daniel's vision is realized through the creation of Kind, which exemplifies this ethos. He understands that business can be a powerful tool for positive change. And thankfully, as his neighbor, I get to test out new products. The ice cream bars, I got them first, folks, and they are amazing. But he doesn't just think about the products, about nourishing the body and soul. He's pioneered of movement that has redefined the very essence of snacking. Kind offers more than just a delicious treat, though it is very, very delicious. It also encourages us all to make the world a little kinder, one act at a time. Kind grew out of Daniel's earlier, not only for profit venture, Peaceworks, which used business forces to bring together neighbors in conflict regions, incentivizing cooperation through trading and sharing of profits. Through his nonprofit and civic ventures, Daniel continues to give voice and agency to the vast majority of people around the world who seek to replace division and destruction with unity, building, and problem solving. And if you ask me, the world needs us now more than ever. Daniel, I am so lucky to call you a friend, and I'm honored to be here tonight witnessing your induction into the Texas Business Hall of Fame. Everyone, please join me in extending a warm welcome to a pure pioneer, advocate for positive change, and my friend, Daniel Lubetzky.
Thank you, guys. So as Kendra shared with you, she's not just my fellow shark, but my neighbor, and I'm going to out her with a story. That time when she said I gave her advice, she also said, could you please do me a favor and carry my pair of pants for me because they haven't been ready. So I'm like, no problem. So I picked up her dry cleaning and I brought it with me on the plane. And it was a transparent, dry cleaning bag, so you could see through it this beautiful what would you call it? She calls it mint green. I say pastel green, intense, beautiful pastel green, very wide pants. And I was carrying them, and a couple of my team members joined me on the plane. They're like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, the wardrobe consultant at Shark Tank told me that maybe my eyes would really, really come out if I wore this. And they're like, are you sure? Like, I don't know that that's a good idea. I'm like, well, that was a conversation I had with a wardrobe consultant, and she thinks we need to break these assumptions that men need to wear, dark suits, that we can really, really shake it up. It's going to really be fun. My team members were like mortified. Fortunately, because it was the pandemic times, I was wearing a face mask, so they couldn't see that I was laughing like crazy. When we arrived, I finally gave Kendra her pants, and my team, like, they started breathing again. But most important, Kendra is not only extraordinarily smart and kind and just super impressive, she can also pull off wearing these green flare pants on national television and look amazing. And for that, I'm truly in awe of you, Kendra. She really is an incredible entrepreneur, and I've loved learning from her. We love exchanging conversations and strategies, and she's an extraordinary entrepreneur, and I'm very proud to count her as a friend. Her and Thomas. By the way, they just had 8 puppies, so if anybody wants to come see them, no pressure. I'll let you in through our gate, and you can come see the puppies.
It was an accident.
Ours is also pregnant, so in a month you can come see ours. I want to thank, first and foremost, my mom, my brother, my wife, and my kids who are all here visiting, who are here on the table with me. You know, in the life of an entrepreneur, you go through high highs and low lows, and my kids probably don't realize the way they and Michelle, my wife, helped me get through the toughest times when things are not going the way I like, the way they give you unconditional love. It's probably the most important value that an entrepreneur can get, is just get love from their loved ones. I want to thank the Texas Business Hall of Fame for this honor. What made me very enthusiastic about this organization is that it's not just about what you've achieved, but how you've achieved it. It's about how you're giving back. It's about what you do with that success. And it's about the integrity, the honor, the values of the journey of how you get there. And you witness tonight a number of moments of extraordinary decency. And it just reminds me why I love Texas and when I appreciate the authentic, basic decency of Texans. We're living through a very, very tough time as a confused Mexican Jew. Well, that's tough anyway all the time. But you see the horrible acts of anti-Semitism that have taken over our world and our country. You see the suffering of Israelis and Palestinians, friends of mine that have been working for 30 years. You see the pain of Jews, Muslims, Christians, all people in the region that are suffering so much. And I think it's really important for us to remember that we need to unite as builders. People that deny the humanity of the other side and who mobilize to hit and hurt others, they're destroyers. The overwhelming majority of us are moderates, but we need to be builders. It's not enough to be moderates. We need to bring light onto the world together, and then that way is how we're going to extinguish hate and overcome it. Thank you. Tonight, I want to share a story about honor that I've never shared before. For me, what's amazing about the United States is the system with rule of law, democracy, freedom, kindness, civility, and one of the most amazing secret weapons of the American system is the honor code. When I immigrated when I was 16 years old, even though I was a sophomore, I could barely speak Spanish. Probably my English class didn't help that much anyway. But back then it was even worse. And I had to take English and US history, even though they were freshman courses. I wasn't very studious, but there was one class I loved, US history. Our teacher, Mr. Carl Hansen, knew how to make it interesting. I just loved learning from him. I thought we had a very positive connection. I felt he was very proud of me and my contributions. He encouraged me. And unfortunately, that year I had a very serious back problem that kept me away from school. And I had to take, exams, makeup exams. And Mr. Hansen explained that I was going to take the exam outside the classroom in the hallway while he was teaching the kids inside the school, inside the classroom. Our school had an honor code. I didn't really know what that meant, but I sat out on the hallway. I started taking my exam. It was probably not very difficult. I had a pretty good memory, and I probably filled up the answers very quickly. But I was out in the hallway by myself with my seat, with my backpack, with my US history book right there. And I just felt the temptation to check if my answers were right or wrong. And so I opened the book to check, and just as I opened the book, I looked up, and Mr. Hansen came out. And he looked at me, and his heart was broken. I could tell how much I had hurt him, how much I had disappointed him. And he was very gentle with me. He, I think, was embarrassed on my behalf, and he said, "Daniel, this is not an open book test." And he gently closed the book and put it away. He said, "You don't really need this, Daniel." He could have failed me that minute. He could have reprimanded me, but he decided to give me another chance. But what he could not do is help me regain my honor, my own opinion about myself. I felt so guilty. I had betrayed this man who was just the kindest human being, who was the most patient teacher. In that moment, I learned the meaning of an honor code. I learned the importance of not disappointing others or myself by taking shortcuts in life. The honor code and integrity are kind of the Jewish concept of being a mensch. Being a mensch is being a person that does the right thing even when nobody's watching. I've never shared this story until tonight. Over the years, I've been meaning to try to reach out to Mr. Hansen and let him know how much of an enormous impact he had on me. When I learned that we were going to hold this event in San Antonio, I asked my team to help me track Mr. Hansen down. And we invited him tonight as our guest of honor with his wife, Linda, and he's sitting right there in the table. I hadn't told him this story. He honestly said, "Mr. Hansen, do you remember me?" He's like, eh. Which is all the more important because think about the impact he had on thousands of kids like me, and without even realizing the extraordinary impact he had. Behind every amazing entrepreneur in this room tonight, there's a teacher or teachers who help make our success happen and who will never know the important part they played in shaping them as a leader. So, Mr. Hansen, the Texas Business Hall of Fame would like to award you a medal tonight in honor of all of those teachers. If you could stand and let the audience recognize you and allow the Hall of Fame's former chairman, John Karp, to place that medal on your neck tonight. Now you better remember me, Mr. Hansen. Please make sure that you reach out to your Mr. Hansens in your life to thank them. Thank you and have a great evening.
Congratulations, Daniel. Before our final video, I would like to say what an honor it's been to be here with you this evening And now please join me to watch the story of tonight's final inductee, Jack Martin.
I'm a product of Texas. I'm a fifth-generation Texan. I grew up in San Antonio. My family were all farmers and ranchers, really small-town entrepreneurs. They were serious about their work ethic and their heritage. That left a lasting impression on me. When I got to college, I really was interested in politics. I went to work for Senator Benson when I was 20. My interest in business originated from Senator Benson because it was his idea that I started Public Strategies. Public Strategies was a very unique company. We really evolved where if you wanted to take your company public on Main Street, you would come to us for advice about how to do that. My first client was Herb Kelleher and Colleen Barrett. They were at the time heading up Southwest Airlines. What Herb and Colleen did was to make sure that their customers and the public were what made Southwest Airlines successful. And then along came after that Ross Perot. Ross had a notion about things he wanted to do and had the wisdom to know that a lot of it had to do with really a partnership with the public.
I met Jack Martin in the late 80s, and Jack has been on retainer to me ever since. Started with the airport, Alliance Airport. And Jack came in, was a great partner in positioning Alliance Airport in the community the appropriate way. And then we started working on the new arena. How do you get the citizens of Dallas to support an arena in a single-purpose election in January? Jack built the team and he put the political strategy together, and we had 125,000 votes cast, and we won by 1,642 votes. I said, Jack, you got there, but barely.
One of the benefits of some of the work I've done is you get to see it in the community. In Dallas was the Victory Center. In Houston, the Astros Stadium. In San Antonio, the construction of the arena. And in Fort Worth, a new urban campus for A&M. What I love about it is that it has a huge benefit to all those communities.
Well, I first met Jack in the early 1990s. I was the relatively new chairman of Southwestern Bell Telephone Company. We needed somebody that understood legislation and somebody that understood regulation, and Jack was that guy.
What we did again was Ed had a notion of how he wanted to change the way that company's business model was, and so there was a public component to it. For example, he ran fiber optics to the front door of every school in Texas.
After I left AT&T, I went to General Motors as chairman. We needed a Jack Martin. I give him a lot of credit for our progress.
The notion that Public Strategies had was there was always taking your ideas out to the folks. I think companies have an obligation to do that. These people I worked with were all passionate about that, and it was just a great blessing. By 2006, we had several people that came to Austin and wanted to buy the firm. And so I ended up selling it to a company in London called WPP that was headed by a guy named Martin Sorrell. After a few years, he asked me to take over Hill & Knowlton, which was part of the WPP family. We merged the two, and I became the chairman. We had 1,700 companies around the world that were equivalent of a Fortune 500 company, so it was a great experience. I really believe that helping people is why we're all here. My dad always had this firefighter's motto of first in and last out, so I've always tried to live my life that way. And in 1999, I first went on the board of Scott and White Hospital in Temple. That was a volunteer position, and I loved it. We later merged with Baylor in Dallas, and so now Baylor Scott and White is a $9 billion healthcare company, the largest nonprofit in Texas, and I'm the chairman. Patsy and I are a team. We've met in the 9th grade. She's got more wisdom than I do. She came up with the idea that we should start something called I Live Here, I Give Here. 14 years later, That effort has raised $118 million in Austin for nonprofits. We started that together. She gives me more credit than I deserve.
Jack Martin will spend his time on philanthropy. You can write a check, but when you spend your personal time on it, that's real dedication. Jack is a great Texas entrepreneur who raised a great family, built a great business, took great care of his community. Everywhere Jack Martin went, he left it better than he found it.
Here to introduce Jack Martin is Hall of Fame legend Ross Perot Jr.
Thank you. It is my opportunity to introduce Jack Martin, as you could tell from that video, a longtime friend and business colleague of mine. In 1987, one of my partners, DeSoto Jordan, called me, and Dee ran our DC operations, and he said, "This guy's leaving Benson's office, you need to hire him." I said, "Dee, what am I gonna do?" He said, "Doesn't matter, just hire him. You two will figure something out." And every business venture I've been a part of, for-profit, not-for-profit, Jack Martin has been with me. Jack is a key advisor to all of my partners, but the most important thing about Jack is Jack has become a really dear friend of mine, and what I most appreciate about Jack is what he has done for my family. He literally was with my wife and I as we were raising our children. He's known our children from the very beginning. My two boys started hunting with Jack when they're 6 and 7 years old, and my 4 children consider Jack also a key mentor. If you look at Jack's impact around the country, it's been very impressive. And if you look at Jack as a man who is dedicated to the nation, that is Jack Martin. As we go through and think about what it takes to be successful, Jack Martin has the characteristics. Number one, he's a man of great character. He has courage and he has integrity. Jack Martin also is a man he knows his priorities. He knows the Lord. He's a man of deep faith. You've seen and heard about Patsy, his wonderful wife and partner. He has 3 fabulous children, Andy, Shannon, and Mackenzie, 2 wonderful grandchildren, and he told me today he's got a 3rd grandchild coming on the way. Jack is dedicated to his friends. And when I say dedicated to friends, it's more than a passive friendship. If you're a friend with Jack Martin, it is a very deep friendship. And the hallmark of a friendship with Jack Martin is loyalty. Deep, deep loyalty. Many times in this 35-year relationship we've had, I'd call Jack with a problem and he would drop everything and he would come. Even when he ran a global operation, I knew if I called Jack, he would be there to help me, the business, or my family. Jack loves this country. He dearly loves this state. And he is a man who is dedicated every day to making the world a little bit better. There's no one better recipient than Jack Martin to be in the Texas Business Hall of Fame. Jack Martin, thank you and congratulations.
After watching the video and listening to Ross, I don't really know why you need me. As you heard described, the businesses I've been involved in, for the most part, have assets that are the people. The assets of the businesses I've been involved in have also involved clients. So relationships and the opportunity to help people and the opportunity to have people work with me that are smarter than I am is really the principal asset of the businesses I've been involved in. Thank you, Ross, very much. You know, when you're recognized by something as prestigious as the Texas Business Hall of Fame, I think everybody would agree it's something you never expected, and it's an honor of a lifetime, and it certainly is for me. But it's natural to feel personal pride about it, but I immediately go to overwhelmed with gratitude for how I got here. I got here because of other people. I got here because of people that gave me a break. They hired me, like you heard from Herb, Ed Whitaker, and Cassandra Carr, who's here tonight. Cassandra came to my office one day and asked me if I would meet with Ed, and they hired me, and that was when Ed was still in St. Louis with Southwestern Bell. And until the day he went to General Motors, I continued working for him, and as he said, even then, that was a wonderful relationship, and I am deeply grateful to him. I've been blessed to serve with the best teams in Texas, as you heard some of the things in the video, and the best Texas has to offer. And I'm really proud of that because I've never lost sight of the fact that I'm a Texan. I've always been in Texas. Even when I was supposed to be running a global company in London, I really lived in Texas. I have to begin, first of all, tonight with my wife, Patsy. We've been together since the 9th grade, and most people that know her know she deserves a medal. It's not just her infinite patience that should be recognized, but she's the light that lights the path of our life. We are a team. Now, she's tried to trade me a couple times, but for 49 years, she's been our family's foundation. She's the wisest person I know. She's equally deserving of this award, and she's actually the real rancher in the family. And our philanthropic efforts really were hers, and she also has a passion for helping others. Our 3 children, Mackenzie, Andy, and Shannon, are our greatest accomplishments. This honor is theirs as well because they sacrificed a lot with Dad being gone or Dad being flying around the world or Dad not being able to go to a soccer game. And I really am grateful to them for everything they've done. Mackenzie and Shannon are here tonight, and Shannon's husband, Zach, is also with us here tonight. For those of you that know me, know that I feel the foundation for almost everything that's happened to me is from Senator Benson. I can't adequately describe the many things he taught me during the almost 25 years that we worked together, or I worked for him. My career was shaped in every way by the time I spent working for him. I'm very honored that his son Lan is here tonight, who is a lifelong friend. It was the senator who suggested I start public strategies, mostly because I think he thought it was time for me to finally leave the payroll. But I tried to lead it as I watched him lead. I'm especially grateful also for my longtime friend and colleagues from Senator Benson's staff, Ed Knight, who's here tonight, sitting with another of my dear friends, Tullis Wells. You're beginning to get the pattern. I've got the same friends I had 40 or 30 years ago, and they've been an integral part of my life. Of course, Ross is a perfect example of what I described as the best Texas has to offer. He's my dear friend and colleague for 37 years. It's impossible not to succeed when you're on his team, and it is the longest and most significant business relationship of my career. Thank you, Ross, and my colleagues from Hillwood are here tonight. Many of the leaders of Hillwood are here tonight, along with Ross's son, Hunter, and I'm very grateful to all of you for letting me be on the team. The others that helped me along the way, you saw in the film, I've mentioned a couple of them. My foundation, or my beginning, really was when I showed up in San Marcos to go to Southwest Texas State University. I was a first-generation college student. I wasn't real clear what I was going to do when I got there. I think I wanted to be on the rodeo team. But I really developed a fascination with politics in those days. The Texas State University Chancellor Brian McCall and the president of my alma mater, Kelly Damphouse, are here tonight, and I'm very grateful to both of you. 30 years ago, I served as the chairman of the Board of Regents of Texas State University, And I'm very privileged for that honor, and I'm also very privileged to have been named by them as a distinguished alumni, along with my hero, President Lyndon Johnson, and my classmate, George Strait. I want to say two of my great friends are here tonight, Gary Crane and A.D. Muller. They went to college with me. We did our very best to enhance Southwest Texas State reputation at the time as a party school. And it was A.D. who made it possible for me to become the head of the Student Senate, which opened almost all the other opportunities I had from that point forward, and I'll never forget that. Texas A&M Chancellor John Sharp and his wife Diana here tonight. John has been my dear friend for 50 years. We have been very close friends. And for those of you that know Sharp, that means that I've had a lifetime of laughter, loyalty, and the opportunity to watch his genius as one of the true leaders of higher ed in Texas. Since founding Public Strategies, over 10,000 people have worked with me from around the world. I used to say that we worked around the clock around the world, and we did. I want you to know that the best and the brightest and the smartest of them all are here tonight. And that includes Cassandra Carr, Rusty Kelly, Peter Zandon, David Ionelli, Glenn Smith, Meredith Marks, Hannah Peters, Mark Bunker, James Fuller, Marvin Singleton, and David Bates. I also want to say it includes my dear friend Lyndon Olson, Ambassador Lyndon Olson. He and his wife Kay are here tonight. As Kay knows, Lyndon and I talk almost every day, and it's one of life's many blessings. Mostly we talk about who has been to Buc-ee's most recently and what they have new. I want to offer a special thanks to my friend Meredith Marks, who's been an integral part of everything that I've done for 25 years. My friends Day Cable and Gene Finley saved my life more than once in different ways. Gene couldn't be here with us tonight, but his son Bryce is here, and I'm very grateful. Finally, I want to thank the Holt family. I'm from San Antonio, and as you're beginning to understand, most of the success I've had, interestingly, has come from people from San Antonio. Peter Holt and I started working for Senator Benson together many years ago, and after Peter moved to San Antonio, we worked together again at Spurs and Holt Cat. My feeling of him as my friend and a very fine man is only eclipsed by the fact that I have the same feelings towards his son Peter, who's here tonight. I'm honored that that association continues today. I want to close by thanking you all for this opportunity again. All the people I've mentioned, I wouldn't be here without them. And I also want to thank the Texas Business Hall of Fame and my friend Mort Meyerson for nominating for this award. And it is truly an opportunity and an honor of a lifetime. So thank you. Thank you.
All right, the book is closed, no more script. This has been a wonderful evening. I just have to think, just to think, it's one word, it is gratitude. Inspirational, absolutely. When we hear our legends and the business success that they have done and the giving back to our community is wonderful, it's inspiring, it makes us want to be better. But folks, my role over the past year being a chairman, I've gotten a chance to just hear other stories, interact not with just our legends, but with the employees and the individuals who worked with our legends, and talk about inspirational. These were individuals who would run through walls for our legends. And I have to tell you, that was just as inspirational. So for those of y'all out there that shared those stories with me, thank you very much for making this night inspirational for all of us. So gratitude as well for Dan Goodgame, who is a master of ceremonies for this evening. He did a fantastic job. So Dan, thank you very much. You know, we never really talked about the success of the Texas Business Hall of Fame. This was our best year in terms of generating funds for the Texas Business Hall of Fame, and it has to do with all of y'all out here today. So thank y'all again very much. So for those who don't know, Meredith Walker is our executive director. She is the engine behind all of this. The success is absolutely with Meredith. Meredith, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure getting a chance to work with you. Something about Meredith. Every time there's success, the first thing that she will say, it's the team and it's the staff here at the Texas Business Hall of Fame. So Patrice, Denise, Stephanie, thank you all for what you are doing. This has been a wonderful, wonderful year. So in closing, on a personal note, I just want to thank my colleagues at Cap Trust for being here with your support this evening. Catherine, it's certainly with my wife. For those who know her, I would not be here today on so many levels. Catherine, thank you very much for all that you have meant to me. If anyone knows Catherine, there's always the joke that I married up many levels higher. Of course I did. That is exactly right. And my response back each time is, I hope I don't mess it up. And that resonates with my role here with the Texas Business Hall of Fame as the chamber. I hope I didn't mess it up. And now I am glad to now hand it over to our chairman for next year, for 2024, Mr. David Huntley.
Thank you, John. Wow, what a night. Congratulations, John, on a wonderful induction dinner this evening. And I'm pleased to announce that next year's induction dinner will be held in Dallas in November of 2024. We'll be sharing details with you soon, so stay tuned. Thank you for coming this evening, and we look forward to seeing you next year in Dallas.